All right, everybody, welcome to the FTW Wrestlemania Round Table Extravaganza of Stars. Coming to you live on March 11, 2012 with Joe. Say hello, Joe.
Hello.
Greg from killthecan.org. Say hi, buddy.
Hello. How goes it?
Pretty good. Garvin's man of the boards, and as always, I'm Harrison. If you're new to the show, check out FTWpodcast.com for more about us and how to get involved in tonight's show, as well as upcoming shows. You can reach out to us on Twitter, Facebook, voicemail, text message, and email. We're bringing your comments and questions throughout the show, so if you want your voice to be heard, this is your opportunity. Tonight's live chat can be found at FTWpodcast.com/live, and you can also email questions at questions at FTWpodcast.com. And if you're on Twitter, use hashtag FTWLive. We'll be reading all your messages on the air throughout the night. So we're going to be going, doc out of the show, is to go through Wrestlemania. Every Wrestlemania that happened since, well, basically 1985 was the first one. And we're going to go show by show. We're going to talk about the best things about it and the worst things about it. And so let's start with WrestleMania 1. Now, are you ready to feel old? Because WrestleMania 1 was March 31st, 1985, and I was 3 at the time.
Oh, see, I was 6.
So I don't remember much of the show, but this is where it started. Madison Square Garden, New York, the first WrestleMania put on by the WWE. Run down to the card. There was some, body slam challenge, Andre the Giant versus Big John Studd, neither of whom are still alive. Women's championship was Wendy Richter versus Cyndi Lauper defeating, Wendy Richter and Cyndi Lauper defeating Leela Kai and the Fabulous Moolah to become new champion. Cyndi Lauper's still alive, isn't she?
Yes.
Okay.
Barely.
Okay, barely still alive. Wow. Yeah. And then the main event was Hulk Hogan and Mr. T with Jimmy Superfly Snuka taking on Roddy Piper and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff and Cowboy Bob Orton. Damn. Did anybody go back and watch this recently? Because,
no. I'm sorry to say no.
I've watched it maybe in the last year or so.
Okay, so
it's a decent show. If you're a relatively new wrestling fan, say within the last 10 years, you're going to think it's complete garbage. It's very slow. If you go back and look at this, the production value of this particular pay-per-view is absolute crap. And, you can't really blame them. This is obviously the first WrestleMania, and it's kind of, grown to what it is today. But it's very dark. It's very slow. And really, the only reason you would really enjoy it was from kind of a wrestling historical perspective.
It's like the first Super Bowl. The first Super Bowl was, if you've seen video of it, it was just like, what the hell is going on here? It was just, boring as hell. But then you watch,
Well, what's the first
Super Bowl?
What's the first WrestleMania? Was it even on pay-per-view, though? I thought it was...
No, it wasn't. It was like closed circuited, I think. And it's funny. In fact, one time Jesse Ventura, who's commentating, actually makes a reference that it's the biggest card in history. And he throws out the number of 1.2 million people. So he's clearly referring to the fact that it's closed circuit, but he didn't mention that, which was, so.
All right. Okay, how about this? King Kong Bundy with Jimmy Hart defeated Special Delivery Jones in 9 seconds. What else we got here? Ricky Steamboat took on Matt Bourne, beat him. Who's got Tito Santana defeated the Executioner. This is like a who's list of who's in the Hall of Fame right now.
Yeah. Matt Bourne, by the way, went on to become Doink.
Oh, he did? Really?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
See, this is going to be one of those shows where I just feel like an idiot compared to every wrestling fan out there, a.k.a. Greg.
Well, in our defense, dude, how young were we? Okay, you guys want to move on to WrestleMania 2? So that was the first WrestleMania. And really, you got to wonder, if you saw it live at the time, did you think that it would grow? Because like you said, Greg, if you look at it, it was dark, it was slow. Even for the time, wrestling at the time wasn't what it is today. You got to think... Looking at it, would you really think that it would become the extravaganza that it is today? Probably one of the biggest things on pay-per-view every year.
Oh, absolutely not. In fact, I don't even know that Vince McMahon thought it would go there. And there was a the history of WrestleMania DVD that came out a year ago. I think he even mentions that fact. Like he had no idea. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, so on to the sequel, WrestleMania 2, Now It's Personal. It took place April 7th, 1986. I was 4 at the time. I'm not going to, I'll stop. I'm not going to keep doing that. 3 locations, Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale, New York, Rosemont Horizon in Rosemont, Illinois, and the Los Angeles Memorial Sports Arena in LA. So this took place over 3 different locations. I'm a little hazy on that.
Yeah. They had matches in 3 different cities, and they
just cut between them. Okay.
Yeah.
Big thing. I mean, Macho Man with Miss Elizabeth taking on George Animal Steel and retained his Intercontinental title. Boxing match. Mr. T with Joe Frazier and the Haiti Kid defeated Roddy Piper, Cowboy Bob Orton by disqualification. So there you go. I bet it's the only time you would ever imagine Mr. T would team with Joe Frazier in a boxing match.
I pity the fool who's on the other side of that ring. I pity the fool.
This was the one that had the NFL Battle Royale. Oh man, this had Jimbo Covert from the Bears, had Harvey Martin from the Cowboys, Ernie Holmes, Bill Fralick, oh god, Russ Francis, and it even had the Fridge, William Refrigerator Perry. He was in there taking on.
I had his G.I. Joe.
Yeah. Oh man, that's fantastic. Hey, Rob finally joined us. Hey, buddy, how you doing?
I'm doing all right.
We knew you were going to come on late due to the time zone difference and daylight savings.
Yeah, and I just upgraded my clocks, so
okay.
I was completely confused. I apologize.
That's okay.
It's just simple math. We know how much that confuses you.
It does. It really does. Math not my strong suit.
All right. So moving on, one last thing I want to, before we talk about it again. The main event was the WWE Championship Steel Cage match. Hulk Hogan defeating King Kong Bundy with Bobby the Brain Heenan to retain the title. This is the only steel cage match in WrestleMania history. Not Hell in a Cell, steel cage. Which is, WrestleMania 2. That's the one and only time they ever did it. Now, when you look at WrestleMania 2 and what they tried, they had other gimmicks, but the steel cage, like the thing dubbed the steel cage, not with fencing, not the Hell in the Cell, not that, but the steel cage. It's the only steel cage match in WrestleMania history. When you look at WrestleMania 2 and what they tried to do with bringing in, they brought in the NFL, they had the Tag Team Championship, they had a ton of matches. And the steel cage match, and have this stretched over 3 different locations. When you look at that versus what happened in WrestleMania 1, it's almost like night and day.
Well, with WrestleMania 1 was a big success when it was done, so they just went bigger. And that's where Vince started to just scale up and up and up.
Yeah, from just watching the show, this is clearly a much better show to watch. It's much more interesting. The production value obviously is much better. I would have, if I was there live, I'd be pissed that you're only getting, a third of a show and you have to watch the other, the other 2/3 on closed circuit. But overall, top to bottom, the card is much better.
Oh, absolutely. Once again, you're just going, you got classy Freddie Blassie in a flag match. He lost with Nikolai Volkov, lost to Corporal Kircher. So, you look at really the big one for me is the Intercontinental Championship. Macho Man Randy Savage versus Miss Elizabeth taking on George Steele to retain the title. That's Macho Man.
I would love to see Macho Man
versus Miss Elizabeth. Yeah,
I guess they could have that match now.
Yeah, they probably
could. Rest in peace, both of you. Seriously.
This was a big one because Macho Man wasn't in his prime yet, but this was him building to it. This was like in his Cody Rhodes moment, where you're like, okay, this guy's going to be huge. He's just not huge yet. So WrestleMania 2. All right, WrestleMania 3. This is interesting. This 93,000 plus people packed into the Pontiac Silverdome on March 29th, 1987 for WrestleMania 3. It's the largest indoor attendance for any event in history. WrestleMania 3 was also the only WrestleMania to not have a tag team title match. At least so far. So that'll be interesting. And I'm willing to bet that 93,000 gets blown out the doors when they go to Dallas Cowboy Stadium in Dallas. I have no doubt.
How many? But how Dallas Stadium there? How many people does it actually seat? Because the Silverdome sat 80,000.
Okay, indoor and outdoor. I have no doubt. I mean, indoor and outdoor. I have no doubt. When they go to Dallas, they'll reach over 100,000 people.
Supposedly, I think they said they beat the Silverdome record at WrestleMania 23, but I don't. I think when it actually came down, they were counting like every worker. Which
they really wanted to hit that number. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so oh man, what do we? Jeez.
King race against Junkyard Dog loser bows match.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
Harley Race and Junkyard Dog.
I know I missed WrestleMania 1, but the thing that stood out to me, because I just watched WrestleMania 1 yesterday, actually. And speaking of the Junkyard Dog, I was struck because I'm watching him come out, and I'm like, only in the 80s. I mean, when you take a look at his gimmick, you've got a black man coming out with a freaking dog collar around his neck. When he does promos, he does half talking, half like barking like a dog, and then he's got this huge freaking chain that he brings out. I'm like, if you tried to do that gimmick today, 500 different groups would sue the shit out of you.
Well, it's a combination of two people that we have right now, which is Titus O'Neil and Bully Ray.
That's a good point, Garvin. That's a good point.
And who's the only guy who'd be able to really pull off the Junkyard Dog gimmick again? Well, you got two. You got Jay Lethal, and you got R-Truth.
God, Jay Lethal.
Seriously? I mean, did you hear? I mean,
I don't think there's a wrestler I don't think there's a wrestler from the 80s that Jay Lethal could not imitate.
Well, there was an indie show where Sid Vicious failed to show up, and he's supposed to fight Matt Hardy, so I can understand why I didn't go. So Jay Lethal came out, imitated Sid Vicious, and fought Matt Hardy. And the fans said, not only did the fans say it was a dead-on impersonation, the booker came out and gave out Sid Vicious's cell phone number to the fans so they could call and complain.
That's awesome.
So you have a rubber leg?
Fans.
That's why Jay Lethal is like a must-have for any wrestling federation. One of your workers doesn't show up, you can just, hey Jay,
get out there and do
this guy's gimmick, right? Get out there, man.
We'll just stick a blonde perm on you. You'll be fine. So the big thing for WrestleMania 3 was the main event. It was massive hype between Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan. I mean, they actually came out in little plinths, right? It was like the mini rings, and they got dragged out there like pharaohs from ancient Egypt.
Yeah.
So that was probably the most hype.
That was WrestleMania 7.
That was 7? I thought that was 3.
They did it on 3 too.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. No, that was the big one because that was the first time Andre the Giant ever got body slammed, right? Didn't Hulk Hogan do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I gotta say, out of all, when you look at the first 5 WrestleManias, I gotta say that was probably the biggest main event because at that time Hulk Hogan was his Hulk Hoganist. I mean, you could not get more Hogan than you could in the late '80s. Yeah, I mean, the guy was God.
Yeah, that was clearly the best main event, but the best match probably of my whole life is on this card, and it's Savage Steamboat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, for the IC champion? Or no.
That is always on my list of top 2 or 3 of all time. I just watched it again, and that match holds up. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, when I was a little kid, I was a huge Hogan fan, but right after Hogan, I was a huge Steamboat fan. I think he's drastically underrated by history. I don't think he gets half the credit he deserves for what the guy could do.
He falls into this. See, the problem with Steamboat is that he falls into that uncanny valley where he's not amazing at any one thing. Like when it comes to the high flying stuff, Macho Man may not have been better, but he was definitely flashier. So I mean, it was like Steamboat had all the talent in the world to be an astonishing wrestler, except at the time he did not have that extra thing at one thing that you could pin to and market very well.
Yeah,
so,
and in the 80s, that's really what professional wrestling wanted. You had to do one thing better
really
than
well.
anybody else.
Yeah. So that was part of it. Okay, so WrestleMania 4 was March 27th in 1988 at Trump Plaza. Lots of really interesting things. This was when the WWE Championship was declared vacant the days leading up to the WrestleMania. It was the first time the title had ever been vacant since Buddy Rogers became the first WWE champion in '62. It featured a 14-man tournament for the vacant WWE champion. This was the only time that it's ever happened. It was the first time the WWE Championship had changed hands at WrestleMania when basically Randy Savage won it. The opening match was a 20-man battle royale. It was the second battle royale in WrestleMania history. Andre the Giant won the first one at WrestleMania 2, and Bad News Brown emerged victorious from that match. Good on him because he went on to have an illustrious career. And it had 15 matches, which was the most so far of any WrestleMania event ever. WrestleMania 4 had 15 matches. So when you think about it, over 4 years, the meteoric rise from WrestleMania 1 to really, I would say WrestleMania 5 was it, but WrestleMania 4 in 4 years, what this became. I mean, you got to think like they had to know at that point. Holy shit, we hit on something.
Yeah, but if you've got 15 matches in the card. Was this still a 3-hour pay-per-view, or did they go to 4? And being that, just 15 matches, even in 4 hours.
Well,
there are some short matches in there.
Yeah, the tournament itself, there were a lot of really short matches in there. I know that. And you got to think the Battle Royale was pretty huge. But you're right. It was short because it did have 15 matches, but really the bulk of those was the tournament. And the tournament itself, I thought was awesome. I mean, as far as a great gimmick, vacating the title and then having a tournament that night, so going into it, we're going to see, 30 guys. Any one of them could possibly be the WWE champion.
That's
kind of huge.
Yeah, and this was a 4-hour show, Joe. It's not, believe it or not, though, it's not the longest. WrestleMania 5 is actually the longest in history.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying it was actually long. I'm just saying that 15. You had short matches with 15 matches in that time period. That's all.
Yeah, it felt really long, and I think there was thinking back, there was a couple DQs and those kind of things. But yeah, it did feel really long.
Well, you got to think think about it though. Macho Man and who else? Macho Man and Hulk Hogan. Hang on, and DiBiase. And Andre the Giant. All 4 of these guys wrestled at least 3 or 4 matches in one night.
No, Hogan and Andre had a bye into the second round, and
that's right. Yeah, okay, all right. So you're looking at it, Macho Man had the most matches the entire night, but you got to think. I mean, you got to look at it. These are 4 guys who wrestled more than one match, more than 2, 3 matches in the course of one pay-per-view.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Savage is a stud to be able to go through that. I mean, you look at it at the end, he's dead, but you can understand why.
Yeah, because he had, he had 1, 2, that was, the first, the last one was DQ, one-man gang. So 1, 2, 3, 4, if you include the tournament final, 4 matches in one night. I mean, they're not going to be, 25-minute showstoppers every single time, but still. I mean, that's probably a solid 45 minutes of wrestling out of this guy with 4 different opponents. I mean, that's 4 different scripts, 4 different opportunities for botching. I mean, it's like you said, Greg, the guy was a stud to do it.
Scripts? Are you saying wrestling's fake?
Well, you got to think he's got to. I mean, when you look at that 15. When you look at this,
but back then, you got to look at it. Back then, the guys seemed to be a lot more experienced with being able to call a match as they're doing it
in the ring. I would have to say that. Yeah, I would have to say you can kind of tell because that's how it was done at the time. I mean, this was still when wrestling was before where it is now, where it's all storylines and everything. Back then, it was really all about the matches. So these guys had to call the match in the course of the ring, or maybe they had Cliff's notes, beforehand. But by and large, a lot of it, this was still very carny at the time. It was still the carnival ground, do it in the ring. So
at the same time, it should be noted that there was only on this card there was only 2 matches that went over. No, I'm sorry, 3 matches that went over 10 minutes. That was the opener, the Battle Royal.
Mm-hmm.
Rick Rude and Jake Roberts, their first round match, actually went to a 15-minute time limit, and because they still had time limits then. And then the Demolition versus Strike Force match went to 12 minutes. Everything else was, maybe 8 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, but they were a lot shorter back then too.
Well, that's true too. But at the same time, man, you gotta think 4 of those in a night. That's a hell of a thing to keep track of.
Yeah, let me tell you, I'm just going to go out there and I'm going to shove my boot up your ass. You just lay there. All right, let's do this.
One other thing that I thought was kind of interesting, you're talking about WrestleMania 3 with 93,000 people or whatever. There was only like 18,000 people in the building for WrestleMania 4, which is just kind of crazy to me.
Yeah, well, it was Trump Plaza. I mean, it wasn't really a big venue type of thing. It was basically for, the space that they occupied at Trump Plaza was only for like boxing matches, I think. So, yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't an arena, that's what I'm saying. All right, so WrestleMania 5. And to me, this is when this shit got real. It was once again Trump Plaza, but it started to get some of the spectacle that WrestleMania started to have and became kind of the go-to thing about what it was. It was April 2nd, 1989, and this had everybody who was anybody in professional wrestling at the time was in this. I think the best part about it was the original Hart Foundation taking on Honky Tonk Man, Greg Valentine, and Jimmy Hart with Jimmy Hart. I think the idea of the original Hart Foundation in this match was, to me, that's always going to be like nostalgia corner. I mean, what did you guys think?
Demolition beating the Towers of Pain. Come on, man. It's hard to not think of the 80s and not think of Demolition. I mean, Axe and Smash. Just so great. I mean, like, but going back there, they had Bushwhackers versus the Rougeau brothers. I just miss old tag teams. I mean, Twin Towers and the Rockers. Woot. A shit ton of fucking
awesome tag teams.
Awesome tag teams. It was just like a tag team smorgasbord going on right back there. WrestleMania 5, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I don't think there was another WrestleMania that had that many tag team matches on it.
4 tag team matches? No, I can't imagine. I don't think there is another one that would have 4 of them on there. Because I can't imagine another time when you had 8 tag teams, 8 legitimate tag teams. I'm sorry, 5 tag teams. So 10 tag teams available to fill out a card.
So. Yeah, that's when it meant something still.
Main event, Hulk Hogan versus Macho Man Randy Savage. In my opinion, this was Macho Man in his prime. Late 89, right before 90 hit. Hulk Hogan was starting to, I don't want to say wane, but you could tell that he wasn't as massive as he was a couple years prior. But this was Randy Savage in his prime, even though he lost, but still. So this one had little under 19,000 people there, so another huge pay-per-view. Anything before we move on to WrestleMania 6?
6 it.
All right, WrestleMania 6, April 1st, 1990. Was the first pay-per-view held outside the U.S. in America's Hat, Canada. The first mixed tag match in WrestleMania history, and the first time a title versus title match happened, which was also the main event. It was the
Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan, baby.
IC Championship and the WWE Championship. So this was an interesting pay-per-view. I mean, that alone, Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan, was probably enough to merit a few pay-per-view buys. What'd you guys think?
This was the first WrestleMania that I remember seeing as a kid because I didn't have cable. And I just remember... Like, I didn't even see it live. I saw it on VHS, and I'm waiting at the bus stop, like, the next day for my friends to come over and be like, I'm like, who won? Who won? They're like, Hulk Hogan won. And I'm like, fuck you. And they're like, just kidding, Ultimate Warrior won. I'm like, seriously? They're like, no. And I'm like, fuck you. And they're like, no, seriously, he won. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing to me? Because I was the biggest Ultimate Warrior fan. I was huge. So, I mean, and I think I wore out at least one VHS copy of this pay-per-view. I mean, Earthquake and beating Hercules. You had Bruce the Barber Beefcake beating Mr. Perfect. With the Gene set aside.
Yeah, absolutely. $1 Million Man, Jake the Snake Roberts by countout. That was phenomenal match. The $1 Million Championship match. This was when $1 Million Man had that gold and diamond encrusted $1 Million Championship and put it on the line.
Yep.
That was great.
And I believe the reason why it was on the line is because Jake had it in the bag with Damien because he had stolen it.
Yeah.
And DiBiase, I don't think, got it back at the end of this thing. Because nobody could go in the bag. Nobody went in the bag to get it because they were afraid of the snake.
Yeah, I think that's how it went. Yeah,
that might be. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty ironic. We had so much tag team wrestling on the previous show, and then on this show, there's a match where the Hart Foundation and the Bolsheviks. That match literally goes like 30 seconds. They attack him while he's singing the national anthem, hit their finisher, and it's over. It's kind of funny.
Well, it was Canada. It was the Hart Foundation. I mean, yeah. I mean, it was cheap crowd pop, is what it was.
Exactly.
Well, the one thing that surprised me though, being Canada, you would have thought that that match would have went a little longer, or you would have saw like Dino Bravo win a match because he lost.
Dino Bravo never won a match.
Yeah.
Are you serious? He never won.
Well, no, I'm not literally, but no, I mean that guy was. I mean, he was a great heel, but I mean,
yeah, but Mr. USA beats Mr. Canada here. I'm a little surprised looking back. I mean, as a kid, I was like, oh, yeah, but
and the Real American lost too at the end. So
true.
Yeah. All right, WrestleMania 7, March 24th, 1991, in the LA Sports Arena. This was the Andre the Giant's last WrestleMania appearance. It was originally scheduled for LA Coliseum, but because of security concerns over Sergeant Slaughter, they moved it to the LA Arena. And it was the only WrestleMania that the British Bulldog ever competed in a singles match. Every other time he was tagged. So this was also had the Rockers in it.
Oh yeah.
Defeating Haku and the Barbarian with Heenan. It was just a great card all around. But this was, I think, obviously the main event was the biggest match of the night. Hulk Hogan defeating Sergeant Slaughter with General Adnan to become the new champion. And the reason why Sergeant Slaughter, this is when he took his heel turn, right? And
this is pretty much the end of it because he had beat the Ultimate Warrior for the title at Survivor Series, and because. No, it was a Royal Rumble. I apologize. It was a Royal Rumble because Macho Man came out.
Right.
And hit him with the scepter, which is why Macho Man, he starts to come out for the Rumble, but you see his leg come out, and that's it. Because they insinuated that Warrior grabbed him and pulled him backstage. Because he never came out.
Yeah.
But that's what made the thing that stood out in this card to me was Warrior versus Savage. Because Warrior took 10 Savage elbows from the top rope in a row and still was able to kick out.
Yeah.
Then you had the reunion of Miss Elizabeth and Savage after the match. It was just awesome. Totally just pop fest. Watching Miss Elizabeth beat the crap out of Sherry Martel. Giggity goo.
And just think, if they did that now, everyone would be just shitting on them for going 10 straight elbow drops. And looking back at that match, I mean, it was amazing back then, but I don't think it could get pulled off today.
10 straight elbow drops? I don't know. Yeah. You'd have to, a gimmick move like that?
Yeah, that would be akin to, it'd be akin to the Undertaker, hitting 10 tombstones and then Triple H kicking out.
Yeah.
Isn't that what happened the last year?
Yeah. One other thing that I wanted to mention about just these last couple shows, it really it pops in my mind about how long they take to build storylines. I mean, Joe mentioned it, Warrior hit I'm sorry, Savage hit Warrior at the Rumble. So that's a 3-month build. There's other stuff that's been like almost a year, and it's just that doesn't happen these days with monthly pay-per-views.
Yeah, that's really something that they got out. Like we were talking about, like the main event here. There were security concerns because this was when Sergeant Slaughter was doing his Iraqi general heel turn, and they went with that for a while, and I don't even remember how long they built it up between Hogan and Sergeant Slaughter, but I mean it was one of those really, really good feuds that they built up, and it really added, and in my opinion, it really added, maybe a couple of years to Hogan's career, because we were just talking a couple shows ago about how Hogan was starting to go down. This was one of those feuds that kind of really, pushed him up and made him relevant again. People got behind Hulkamania again.
And he bladed big time.
Oh yeah, there was blood everywhere in that match. No, I would have to say, now I want to put this out there and see if you guys agree with me. Would you say that Sergeant Slaughter's heel turn was only eclipsed as far as how successful it was with Hulk Hogan's own heel turn?
Yeah.
Really? As far as the 180 the character took, and how, because think about it, Sergeant Slaughter, dude, the guy was getting death threats.
I think this heel run, yeah. Go ahead, Joe.
I mean, it's great for the character to be a 180, but I mean,
as far as the biggest 180 that you can take, and the crowd absolutely hating the new character, I would have to say, I mean, it got to be Sergeant Slaughter is up there, only to be eclipsed by when Hulk Hogan did it.
I would agree with that, but as far as them, like being like, can't believe there's death threats, turn around and look at the Muhammad Hassan bullshit that WWE ended up doing.
Yeah.
Essentially it's the same. It was almost the same idea, where it's like they took the Iraqi thing and just totally caused death. I mean, they were afraid with Muhammad Hassan. I mean, they thought that. I mean, I wanted them to come out and be like, he's fucking Italian, because the guy, playing the character was. But they had it sold so well.
Yeah, I still think Slaughter's heel run here is probably the greatest heel in history. Hogan aside, yeah, I mean, Hogan obviously was bigger for the wrestling business, but the heat that Sergeant Slaughter had here was just ridiculous.
I mean, they had to move the event.
Yeah, because of security concerns. Yeah, I mean, I have to agree there. There are a few really, really good heels throughout history. I would say Jerry Lawler was one of the top heels. Piper was one of the good heels.
No, man.
Sergeant Slaughter was just, I mean, like Harrison pointed out, I mean, the guy's getting death threats.
And and to this day, I mean, he's done interviews in the past couple of years where they ask him about it, and he's like, I did not like that. He goes, I didn't like it. I didn't like what it did. I was glad when it was over. I mean, you can tell he did not want to do it.
Right.
I mean, he was not a fan. So.
Right. I mean, yeah, like you said in those interviews, he's like, they basically asked me to destroy my character.
Yeah.
The character that I'd spent years building up. And yeah, I mean, the crowd hated him for it, and I mean, and it took, and he never.
But
really
he did
recovered.
it. Right.
Well,
he did
a
it.
paycheck's a paycheck. I mean, what else is he going to do? He can't be a G.I. Joe forever.
That's true. I mean, I guess really the battle with Serpentor really took it out of him. He's like,
all right, 2 points before we move on. One, the main event had Regis Philbin as guest commentator, and Alex Trebek was the ring announcer. I don't remember that at all. But
I do.
Garvin's saying it does. And I want to point out, WrestleMania 7, March 24th, 1991, The Undertaker went 1-0. This was the start of the streak.
Yeah, against Jake the Snake.
He defeated Jake the Snake Roberts, and it was 1-0. And nobody, I can tell you right now, nobody knew where this was going.
Tombstoned him outside the ring, even.
Yeah. I mean, you want to talk about, it's one of those things where you would think, because he debuted that year, right?
He debuted in 1990.
Okay, 1990.
Yeah, I guess
November 1990.
Previous calendar year at Survivor Series.
After the previous WrestleMania.
Correct.
Yes. Right. Okay. So you got to think, like, you would figure his first match against, I mean, you wouldn't expect it to be as amazing as it was. I mean, but you got to think his first match, 1-0 the streak. I mean, when he retires and they release that DVD that has all of Taker's WrestleMania appearances on it, I mean, this was the first one and it was good. So,
just a correction real quick.
Sure, go ahead.
It was actually Undertaker versus Jimmy Snuka.
Yeah.
And that match only went 4 minutes. So, just to show you how much he has progressed in his WrestleMania career.
All right.
I mean, really, I mean, you look at his last couple, I mean, he really only worked for about 4 minutes. And then...
the rest of the time was just...
I'm kidding.
All right, so WrestleMania 8, April 5th, 1992, in the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis, Indiana. Shawn Michaels made his singles debut here. His match was billed as Hogan's retirement match. This was Ric Flair's first WrestleMania, and the Ultimate Warrior and Legion of Doom both returned. Kind of a big pay-per-view as far as, who's who at the time.
One thing about this is the beginning of the multiple main event WrestleManias. There are two.
Tag. Yeah.
Okay. And the thing that got me was, after retiring last year at WrestleMania, Macho Man is back at WrestleMania in a match.
Defeating Ric Flair.
So, I mean, hey, little craziness going on there, but at least it was, I mean, and look at that. I mean, first main event for WrestleMania, it was for the WrestleMania Championship. Mm-hmm. This is the middle of the card there, sir.
Now, that's a really good point, yeah. And then immediately after, they had Tatanka taking on Rick Martel. That was the follow-up to the WWE Championship. It was pretty good.
Yeah, coming on from Garvin's correction, this is where Undertaker beat Jake the Snake Roberts. I was looking at the wrong WrestleMania in my notes.
Taker went 2-0 on this one. And Shawn Michaels, Mr. WrestleMania, makes his debut, taking on Tito Santana and defeating him.
And by this point, Sergeant Slaughter has turned his character back around to Pro USA because he teamed up with Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Virgil, and Big Boss Man against the Mountie, the Repo Man, and the Nasty Boys.
The Nasty Boys.
The Nasty Boys.
God, they suck.
God, they were so 80s, and they were in 1992. Their gimmick was done, but they rode that sucker into the ground.
Still riding.
Still riding it. Yeah, still riding it.
I still can't believe that fucking was it? I think it was Knobs, who he was on that Hulk Hogan midget wrestling show, and he couldn't even work well with one of those guys. He'd wrecked a guy. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with God?
How can you be this bad at this?
Yeah, seriously, it's a light toss. You don't just fucking grab the guy by the head, pummel him into the from one side of the ring into the first row of fans on the other side.
He was expecting him to be a little heavier, I think.
I think the sad thing about the Nasty Boys is that any one of us could get into a wrestling ring and be a better pro wrestler than those guys.
No, I'm not getting in there. Dude, they'll injure me. I have no idea. I have no doubt they will box.
I'm not talking about wrestling them. I'm saying any of us could step into a wrestling ring and know more and be a better wrestler than those two are.
Challenge accepted.
They were so terrible.
By the way, for the Ric Flair and Macho Man match, there was actually a no blood policy for this entire show, and that was one of the first infamous Ric Flair blading matches, where he was caught blading directly on camera, and apparently was fined quite a bit of money by the WWE for that.
Oh awesome. My God! Yes, Ric Flair and his infamous waterfall of blood. Oh God! It's gone straight to the blood bank after that.
Fuck the Crimson Mask. That's a Crimson Leisure Suit.
Another match that I want to point out here that's outstanding. Bret Hart and Roddy Piper for the Intercontinental title.
Yes.
It's right up there with Savage and Steamboat. It's outstanding.
Yes, and I can remember watching this match, and the thing that made the match great was not only the work that the two did, but these guys were so well known. I mean, a lot of fans are going back and forth like, who do I root for?
Yeah.
So after a while,
funny.
you just root whenever one of them does something. It's like, yeah,
That was awesome.
yeah.
All right, WrestleMania 9, April 4th, 1993. Bret Hart was the first wrestler to ever compete for 3 different titles in 3 different consecutive WrestleManias. This was Rikishi's WrestleMania debut. It was the first one to be held outdoors. It was billed as the world's largest toga party, so there you go. JR made his WWE debut at this very event, and it was the last WrestleMania for the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase.
And by WWE's own admission, they said this is the worst gimmick they've ever done.
The toga party? Yeah.
Yeah, that was like the biggest joke. I mean, Fink in a toga?
Yeah.
One thing real quick. Hogan was the main event of WrestleMania 8, defeating Psycho Sid via DQ. It was so good, we skipped right over it.
Meh.
Sorry. I mean,
It's Hogan versus Sid. Unless Sid's leg is floppy, there's no relevance.
Yeah, after Psycho Sid broke his leg, that was basically him now. I mean, you can't think about anything else except for that. All right, so what else we got here? We got WrestleMania 9, Yokozuna and Jim Cornette defeating Bret the Hitman Hart to become the new championship, or to become the new WWE champion. Man, Jim Cornette, God.
And then Hogan. Fucking Hogan. Coming out and beating him right away to become the new champion. You can't walk out of WrestleMania at this point without Hogan being champion.
Yeah, I think that's the 3rd in a row, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nope, yeah, it's 3rd in a row because WrestleMania 6, he lost to Ultimate Warrior. So 3 in a row, he walks up to the
aside from that, he didn't lose at WrestleMania.
No, he...
Till this point.
Okay, yeah, to this point, yes. He has not lost to WrestleMania yet, except for Ultimate Warrior. So, people who complain about John Cena, it's been done before.
Well, actually, wait a minute. He lost before Hogan won the tag team match. He lost won the WWE Championship. They lost the tag team championship match. Money Inc. defeated Hogan and Brutus the Barber Beefcake with Jimmy Hart.
Oh, that was tag. That doesn't count. Besides, he had Brutus Beefcake.
That's true. And Jimmy Hart.
And where was that again? One more time. Which pay-per-view was that?
That's on this show.
That's on this very show. It was on this one. It was the tag team champion.
Oh, right. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sitting there going, wait a minute. How did we skip past that? I apologize.
And this is right after Hogan got hurt, like legitimately. He comes out, he's got a black eye, and there's always been speculation about, did he get in a fight, or did he get in I think there was a story about an accident on the water and all kinds. So that's why he had a black eye going in the show.
Yeah. Taker went 3-0, defeating Giant Gonzalez via DQ. Doink defeated Crush. I can't believe Doink was on this card.
Yeah.
Not only was Doink on the card, but he won.
Yeah. Doink was on a WrestleMania and defeated a guy. Steiner Brothers. How far are you falling?
If you need a clue that your career is over, when you lose to Doink the Clown,
you're over. Well, Chris didn't even have that illustrious of a career. I mean, he was just he was like mid-cartel at best, and this was his only WrestleMania appearance, I think. And he loses to Doink.
He was 1/3 of Demolition.
He was 1/3 of Demolition, yes. Singles wrestler.
It's like losing to Doink is like Chavo Guerrero getting into a program with Hornswoggle and losing. You're done.
Razor Ramon. This is his first WrestleMania appearance, I believe, taking on defeating Bob Backlund. Oh man, I mean, you got to think like you look at this one, you think like how far look at how far Scott Steiner has fallen. Look at how far Razor Ramon's fallen. Jim Cornette. I mean, look what he's doing. Some like 4th rate. I'm sorry, I hate Jim Cornette.
This is a bad show all around. I mean, I think this. I'd have to look. I think this might be the only show or the only Mania that during the streak that Taker didn't win straight up. This was a DQ. I'd have to look, but he got chloroformed, which was fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, this was a bad WrestleMania. All right, moving on. Let's get to 10. So, WrestleMania 10, they returned to Madison Square Garden, WWE's home turf. This was the first WrestleMania without Hogan. Bret Hart competed in both the opening and closing match, and HBK and Razor Ramon completed the first
awesome.
ladder match. Yeah, that match was stellar. Absolutely stellar. Opening match, Owen Hart defeated Bret the Hitman Hart, and then later on, Bret Hart defeated Yokozuna for the championship.
With Mr. Fuji and
Mr.
Jim
Fuji.
Cornette.
Mr. Fuji. So basically what happened was earlier in the card, Yokozuna with Mr. Fuji and Jim Cornette defeated Lex Luger by DQ with Mr. Perfect as the special guest referee to win the championship, only to then lose it later that night to Bret Hart. Really, this was the beginning of the anything can happen WrestleMania. I mean, you had Bret in 2 matches. You had, basically Yokozuna winning the title, only to then lose it just an hour and a half later. Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels in the ladder match.
The one thing that I was proud of this WrestleMania for was that Earthquake defeated Adam Bomb. I hated the Adam Bomb gimmick. I really did. I don't know why, but it was because it was around that time I was like, fuck wrestling as a kid. I was like, seriously? Like, maybe that's when like the cartoony character just died for me. I was never a Doink fan.
What about Dink?
Dink was awesome. No, I'm kidding. No. I mean, then you also had Men on a Mission. Men on a Mission. I mean, granted, Mo ended up becoming, Big Daddy V Viscera with his pudding tit. But seriously, he had that one roll underneath his boob that was darker than all the others. I still think that was filled with something. I don't know. Cancer.
To me, though, the thing that really stands out about this, aside from Bret Hart competing in 2 matches, the first ladder match, Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels, to this day, still one of the best ladder matches that's ever taken place. I mean, and everything that's done. I mean, look at how many things that ladder match set up. I mean, a lot of like your X Division stuff, a lot of your Money in the Bank ladder matches. All of that is based on the success of what Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon did.
Yeah, I mean, you still to this day see clips of this match, in openings to Raw and in just about every, DVD look back and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, I agree with you.
But Crush, unfortunately, had another loss in a Falls Count Anywhere match against Macho Man Randy Savage, who is 4 or 5 Manias into his retirement. So, sorry, Crush. At least you didn't lose the doink this time. All right.
And Crush also had Mr. Fuji as his manager.
Yeah. So there is that.
Well, you've heard our thoughts, but now we want to hear from you. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter, and even join us live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. at the FTWpodcast.com.